together.
Exactly.
We go to the
This
next
is
level
deep,
together
deep cut.
right now.
Exactly.
This is the deeper cut, not the deepest. So that's
No.
next year. Then we
And, you
go
know,
all the way
I
through.
thought about you the other day because a couple weeks
Do
ago
tell.
I was reading 1984, and then I don't know why it's never occurred to me. Well, first of all, I've never read 1984. Somehow it's one of those books that we got by without reading in school. So I was doing, I'm on this reading kick this year. For those of you who follow on Instagram, you see me probably like once a week, it seems like, posting another book that I've read. So I wanted to read 1984 because I heard about it, talked about for the last 4 years and stuff. And people, oh, 1984, 1984. This is like 1984. And I was like, I've never read the book, so I never got it. So I read it. And then, of course, at the end, you get all the Room 101 stuff. So I wanted to start off today by reading some of the Room 101 passages and then asking you why you chose to name your company Room 101. Because I don't know if it's a question I asked you before or if it's just one that I've forgotten over the years. But I thought it was a good place to kind of start this new interview. So
be it.
So this is towards the end of the book. Like I said, lots of stuff happened. I'm not going to spoil the book for those who are like me who haven't read it. But so it says, what is Room 101? The expression on O'Brien's face did not change. He answered dryly, you know what is in Room 101, Winston. Everyone knows what's in Room 101. And then you turn a couple pages later and it picks up again and it says, you asked me once, said O'Brien, what was in Room 101? I told you that you knew the answer already. Everyone knows it. The thing that is in Room 101 is the worst thing in the world. So that being said, why did you choose to name your company Room 101?
Well, I was going to make a sly joke and connect the comment about the worst thing in the world to the cigar business, but I'm not going to do that because it's not the worst thing in the world, and it's not even a valid joke. So I feel like it would have been a miss. But somehow I still told the joke, but didn't tell it through conversational tactic. Now, what I will tell you is that, well, Bunny Boy, welcome to the party. I can see these comments. Are these in real time or am I seeing them late? Like I can actually communicate with the people.
Yeah, they're
I'm a man of the people.
Once the comment comes up, I click on it. So that was a real-time comment. We're getting a little bit high-tech here. It's better than the Instagram lives.
It's like being on the fucking news, man.
I know.
Cool. So here's the deal. The short and curlies of this situation is this, Antoine. I didn't name the brand Room 101 because your greatest fears are the worst thing in the world is in Room 101 and it's all scary and oogly googly like Halloween every day. Not like that. I named it Room 101 because I am a champion for the freedom of the human spirit, the spirit that fuels creativity, independent thought, independent action, right? Mm-hmm. And the freedom to express, right? And these are all things that they're trying to stamp out in this story, right? And so being a champion for the freedom of the human spirit, I felt like this was an appropriate name. And a tongue-in-cheek reference, obviously, to George Orwell's work and a lot of the themes, like I said, that lie within his work overall, as well as that body of work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting book. Like I said, I'm talking because I just read it. So it was a very interesting book. And it was fun because I got the Room 101 reference all of a sudden. I was like, light bulb moment. I was like, duh. And then, you know, I've seen TV shows that have done like little riffs on, riffs on this whole thing too. And there's another comment. Little riffs on this whole thing about, the scene in the book where the guy's like, how many lights do you see? And he's like, I see 4 lights or whatever. And no, it's really 5 lights. And it's like, well, no, it's this many lights. And so it's a whole big, interesting kind of exploration of what is real you know, who determines what's real, all this weird stuff. So I just thought that was really interesting. I kept, when I was highlighting the book, I highlighted the Room 101 parts just because I was like, that's a really interesting thing. Because in the cigar industry, I mean, you see all these different names of, you know, brands. And I think in the boutique area is where you get the most interesting names, you know, that aren't, you know, just named after a family, which is fine. But, you know, Room 101 obviously has made a name for itself, and your marketing and branding that you like to do is just sets it apart. So I thought that was a really interesting kind of origin story for the whole brand, not just the cigar part, but all these different things that you are doing.
Well, thanks for noticing. You know, it's important to have what you're doing rooted in authenticity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And preferably not someone else's authenticity, but your own. And at the time that I was trying to consolidate what I was building into a cohesive body of work, I had to give this being or this organic entity a name. And at the time, I felt that that was the most pertinent label or moniker I could give to the body of work. And, you know, my idea was that not that it would be so overtly thinky, right? But that it would, if people cared to delve a little deeper, it would challenge them to think, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my next brand or body of work will be called Mogadishu Foam Party. And it will be the contrast between foam parties in third world hostile environments and bottle service, basically, or
Yeah.
bottle service, ordering bottle service in a war torn area. I don't know. I'm putting it together. I'll put it together. Don't worry. I'll do this before the end, and we'll collaborate. You can do the press and exclusive feature on the launch party that we all may never come back from, but we'll all chew that root that those cats chew on over there. I believe it's called cot. Cot?
Your
Do we know? Can anyone confirm? I think it's
your
called
shadow
cot.
army asked, ask Mr. Boofy if the answer is bigger than Chinchilla yet. He will know what I mean.
You know it's not. And you know that I find the chinchilla repulsive, unless it's fashioned into gloves or a nice shawl, and that's very fine and supple. But as a creature, I find it repulsive, and I feel, as I have said before, that it is the Pontiac Aztec of the animal kingdom. And by the way, Brian, you say you miss Mogadishu. So is the root cot? The root they chew on, the kids with the AKs, they get all hopped up on cot, right? Isn't it cot? So I tell you what, I could use some of that to power through.
I was about to say that's a good. What have you been up to lately? Because I know, like last year, you made the comment during our live thing on Instagram last year that you know you were kind of enjoying not having to travel as much and doing these live things from home or from your office. Is that how are you feeling now? Do you miss getting back out there? Are you getting back out there or not? Or are you trying to find like a hybrid between 2019 and 2020, basically?
Well, now look, I will say this, and I want to add some color to. See, fucking, I knew it was cot. See, cot. Okay, Brian, have you chewed the cot? That's the next question. I want to know how amped up that shit gets you, man, because I drink a lot of coffee. And anyways, so my point, Antoine, is I want to add some color to what you were saying. One, yes, I enjoyed it. But two, not only did I enjoy it for a myriad of personal reasons, right? To actually stop moving for once, you know, I think for the longest period of time since, I don't know, 95, really, in my life, my life's path. But also I enjoyed the being afforded the mandatory reset to explore new and effective pathways to pilot our business and to continue to remain responsible to the continued generation of momentum and energy surrounding our brand efforts, but also to remain responsible to the pull through of our products, right? And what a better way for me to communicate and touch in the minds, apartment in the back of many people's minds that I already occupy, our end user consumer, right? So I thought it was overall a tremendously healthy exercise. And yes, I do miss seeing some people, but I'm getting a little maniacally active here through the end of the year. There are going to be some very, very key product launches that I will be personally in market to support with our key retail partners, as is appropriate. And yeah, I think that I don't know if you want to call it hybridization in terms of model, because I think, quite frankly, the way that I built Room101 in 2009 is not the most effective model today, based on what we have access to and how we have access to our consumers. And in the same breath, I'll say nothing will ever replace the human handshake, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's also everyone's responsibility to go back to what I was saying about authenticity, to find a way that they can authentically pilot their brand effort in this space, and quite frankly, in any space, really, and continue to fuel it properly and effectively, right? So yes, I enjoyed it. And maniacally, it helped us find a way to a much more and far more effective way to continue to push forward with our brand efforts. Not to sound too serious, because we went from chewing a root for psychoactive effects to then that. So I just want to temper all the professional nonsense that's spewing out of my mouth with suggestive, tales of. I mean, it's organic. It is drug use, though, but it's organic. It's not chemical lab created, right? Like the food you would eat would be less natural than cut, as an example.
And just
can someone mail me some cut?
Just to comment on the comment that's on the screen now, I thought the virtual stuff was definitely interesting. I felt like more.
Yeah.
I felt like more brands were starting to tell their stories in completely different ways. Because for me, on the media side of the industry, I see a lot of press releases, and yet I feel press releases don't really tell that much of a story. It's usually just wrapper, binder, filler, and that's it. And then there's a quote from the principal of the company, and
we are so excited to offer this fine product line extension in the truest tradition of our traditionalism, and to work with okay,
right. And the press release gets plastered all over Facebook for like an hour, and then by that next hour or the next day is old news, and the whole industry's like moved on. So I'm kind of bored with the whole press release bit. But so I kind of like the virtual thing, because if it's done right, then you get more of a story. You get to learn about the people behind the scenes and the principles of the company, and even the marketing people, and different, the cigar rollers. You get, we could be doing a virtual thing with somebody in Nicaragua, and lots
100%.
of people don't get to see that part of the industry. So I like that part of the virtual.
Yeah. No, man, look, it's priceless. And look, man, it's never been more critical for you to be able, well, I mean, unless you suck, and then that's your problem, because you're out here kind of naked, right? Like, I think it's critical that people understand with whom they're spending their money. Okay. I think that it's very important that they understand who they're supporting, what they stand for. And this is your opportunity to to shine. You can, you know, we've become so spoiled as the quality of premium cigars that are flowing into this country has never ceased to to continue to be better year over year. I mean, we are literally spoiled little smokers. To understand what a good cigar was in 1995, not saying there weren't good cigars, and I'm not saying that. Please don't misinterpret or misquote me. But it is, I thought in 2009, it had never been a better time to be a premium cigar smoker. And that at that time was valid. But now is 100-fold. There's so many phenomenal cigars coming into, and I mean some not so great, but a tremendous amount of great cigars. So if you have phenomenal cigars from a myriad of manufacturers, it's very important for you to understand from whom you're purchasing, right? I think
so.
Because why support a dickhead? I'm not saying they're dickheads in our business, but like you would want to vet, I think, with whom you spend your money. You know,
well,
and
especially on the media side, because I've seen a difference when people know the actual story behind a brand. It's like something might go off in their head and they say, oh, I never thought to try, you know, that brand, or I've heard of it, but hearing the person talk about their brand and seeing their interact and answer questions, now it's like, you know, I want to go out and actually try that brand. So I think there's some value in that.
Can I show off for a second? I would like to show off for a second.
Go
So
for it.
when COVID hit and the lockdown came, right, I contacted my dear friend Mike S. that owns Cigar Hustler. Do we know Mike S? Right? Very long last name. It's a very strange spelling, but I love him and I don't hold it against him. I don't want to do the name an injustice, actually, so I just say S. But I called Mike S. and I said, you must immediately rally your top tier customers and your closest customers, and we have to have them gather for a digital event and create a selling evolution. Not just, you know, let's hang out and jerk each other's chain for a half hour. Let us make this invitation by invitation and make it a selling evolution. And because this is going to be the way that we have to pilot our businesses together as partners, me to him, a manufacturer, and him, a wholesale client of mine and a reseller, right? And I would like to just urinate all over the territory of being first for a second, if I may. We were the first people to conduct a virtual event in this industry, period. Fight me. Show me who did it before. No one did, because I know they didn't, because we like did it the week the shit hit, right? Because I was on it. And so this was a very interesting experience, because that event, they're fucking being attacked. Hold on. Fucking, hold on. This is too much. It's too much. It's like all in my mouth. And I'm trying to, you know, I'm smoking around here. Okay. So look. So we. Yeah, of course, I would rather be chased on land, man. I'm a land creature. How terrifying would it be to be taken down by a sea creature? Fucking terrifying. For the love of God, man. Fuck that. And I swim well, but not, you know, I'd rather have a fighting chance on land, man. So, and that's like a little, I don't know, personal insight. So, my point, oh dear God, what was I saying?
You're talking about how you were the first to do a virtual event with Mike.
That's right. That is right. The first.
And you set the industry trend afterwards, because now you see that's sort of became popular.
Well, you know, necessity is the mother of invention, right? And this was the direction that it was going to. I mean, people would have been sitting on their hands if that wasn't the direction they took. But being a smaller craft company and being a little bit more nimble than some of the bigger dogs in the sea, right? I'm a
Mm-hmm.
little destroyer moving around. You're like an aircraft carrier. You got to get 20 people's permission and then take a week to turn around. It's crazy. Must be nice to be so big. Hmm. So, anyways, my point is that because the small craft companies effectively are the special forces of the branded component of the cigar business. We are swift, silent, and can adapt and pivot at a moment's notice. And that's that was the direction we took. Interestingly enough, we have also in real time in this exercise collectively have all grown far more accustomed to this type of interaction, because that event, I realized I was actually physically tired after the event because everyone was just watching me. Like, I'm going to watch the dancing cigar monkey for an hour and I'm not going to interact. Now people are interacting because they were used to the standard fare, the events, but you being physically there to poke and feel and sniff and lick and all these other things that occur. Well, not anymore, coronavirus, but then very much licking and other interaction at events. But this was part of the connectivity, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so we've watched people become more accustomed to engaging digitally, right? So now those people that were virgin virtual event attendees are now seasoned veterans of the virtual game, and I'm sure that they're not only the way they engage recreationally here for events, but just in general, man. I think that everyone has been honing a different skill set as a byproduct of this thing, right?
Yeah, but
Maybe.
I would say that a lot of the companies that were really focusing on the virtual stuff last year, as things have opened up, they've completely gone back to like 2019 standards. So now it's like
Fucking
virtual
sellouts.
events. They're like, oh, virtual events. Like nobody wants to do virtual events anymore. Like we're gonna all just do in-person, in-store events, which I think is fine, but it's so localized that what I thought the lesson of 2020 was like, not everybody can make it out to a store. Not everybody lives near a tobacco like retailer or cigar lounge. And the virtual events kind of open it up to everybody. I mean, it was so great to be able to go, for example,
Yeah.
to have an event. And even though we all hate Zoom and we all are just like tired of Zoom, but to see like 20 faces on a screen and
Mm-hmm.
to hear somebody talking about their brand or their new release and have that be like the standard, I was hoping that it would kind of stick around, and then all of a sudden, like I said, I would say in around April or Mayish of this year, when things kind of opened up, it was like we're going to abandon the virtual events now, and we're just solely going to focus on, like I said, in-person events.
Well, one of the many, many things that I love about our culture and our community is it is rooted in tradition, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the the secondary edge, that double-edged sword, is that in many cases we are champions for antiquity. And I think that somewhere in the middle there is the most effective way to continue to touch your consumer. That's all I got to say. But then again, I pilot my business authentically to me, and everyone else can do whatever they're going to do. That's their business. I just think that you can't argue. If you have 20, 30 faces up on the screen, I saw that splurt emoji too, Bunny Boy. I saw that. Don't think I didn't see that. I think that one of and I mentioned before we came on live, like I'm horrible at the one thing that I am less than great at when it comes to these things is I don't really have a list of talking points, and there's always a list of things that are very important to speak about. And, if they come up naturally in the conversation, so be it. If they don't get covered. And that's, my shortfall, I guess, in some regard. But then again, I wouldn't be, I'd be like, hey, we haven't talked about this yet. Blah, like it just wouldn't be a natural interaction, right? A natural volley of conversation between us. And when I can sit there and stare at 30 different faces, the one thing that I would do is I would ask people where they were from, because I want to know how wide a swath I was cutting in terms of my engagement. And I'm seeing a group of people that if I traveled for a fucking year, I would never have seen all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fact, because even if, and a lot of them I know, I've been in this business 13 years. I've been on the road off and on 13 years. So, I mean, you meet people, you know, pockets of people, the crews that come into the cigar shops, where they're from, what, you know, you get to know everybody, right?
Right.
And, you know, you would miss them. Like, you'd come into town one time and they'd be, you know, at the spa getting their anus bleached or whatever it is that they do other than go to cigar events, right? Which, by the way, that's going to be at my next. We're gonna bleach somebody's anus at one of my events. Why?
Well, that would
Because I want
definitely
to.
be a must see. Depending on
Well,
who
I
it
don't know
is, I
about
guess.
that. I don't know about that. But yeah,
So
you see
let's
what I'm saying,
talk.
right?
Yeah, I want to make sure we talk about all the different parts of Room 101, because I know that people don't
So be it.
always get all of the different. You're in so many different categories that, like I said, I don't know if everybody knows every category you're in. So, I wanted to start off with what the company started off is with the jewelry part, and you were mentioning before we got started about Nordstrom and the big news there. So, kind of tell us about what that news is and how it impacts that part of your business.
Well, Nordstrom was one of our strongest retail partners on that side of our business, and in the more commercialized collections that we offer, not really the made-to-order product that we offer, but our more, like I said, commercialized collections. And they were a trusted retail partner for about 5 years. We took a little break, and now we're back online with them with an opening assortment. I think is very strong. Some alternative material stuff and black tie, as well as some sterling silver, and even some designs that we had not yet released. Right, so they actually had first crack at some designs, and that will ultimately fold back into doors, and Room 101 continues to grow. Right, so it's going to be. It's just. I think it's a fantastic validation for our brand as a whole. And they're one of the best. I mean, they're the act to follow in that world. So very proud to have our products placed with them again.
And when you're creating those pieces, like, what's your creative process like? Like, do you come up with, like, where do you get your idea, and then how do you take your idea from kind of concept to an actual product that's sold?
So first, I have someone FedEx Express me some cut. Then no, I'm just kidding. I wish I wasn't, though. It seems exciting, right? No, man, I think it's important. After you've done anything for some time, hopefully you have a handle on, I've made, 1,000 designs over the years, right? But I know how to tailor a collection, and I had to keep, I had to make sure that we came with stunners, right? Like, everyone had to be a hit single for this placement. So I dialed the collection very tightly, focused on everything from design aesthetic to scaling, proportion, engineering, in terms of the way that affects fit and feel, right? So there's a lot that goes into it, if you're actually thinking about it, that is.
And I mean, obviously, so your studio's in LA, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. I'll be there Thursday, working on a very exciting, almost to be daylit, cast sculptural artwork piece.
Wow.
It's so exciting. I've been working on it for almost a year, this piece.
Yeah, how long does it typically take you to work on these different pieces like this? I mean, is it like do you ever like start working on it? Like, for me, when in a rare occasion that I paint, I just have to be in the mood to paint, and I'm usually am not, and I might pick over something, for a day or a couple of hours, and it might take me months to come up with an idea. So, what's your process like?
It totally depends. It totally depends. One time out of spite, I created a small capsule collection in an afternoon. But it was to prove that a certain style direction in fashion accessory jewelry was rudimentary and very easy to create, right? And I was kind of showing a retailer friend of mine, so right. That was a collection fueled by malicious energy. That's not how I normally like to do it, but I had to show him. I had to tell him. I had already told him, then I had to show him, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it depends, man. I mean, I have collections that are groups of items that stretch on, over the course of years, where one piece at a time, I finish one thing and just kind of add it to the flock. Other things are, like this piece that I've been working on over a year. It was a new. It incorporates the use of some technology and process that I had not used before, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
had to be nothing less than 150% correct. So finally, after about a year and a lot of failed casting attempts, really, because it was a very different animal for us, we got it right. So I'm going to go over that. I'll probably do it on Instagram Live, but we're going to do some. We're going to document the whole thing, document the process, so we can walk people through with a small little, video, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be cool. So really, to answer your question, it could be, a very brief stitch in time, and it could just be something that's kind of episodical and ongoing. You know, if I have something I have to deliver for specifically, like a lot of times I'll be tasked with making a custom piece for someone or a signature item for an individual or their company. You know, you also have to get the job done too, right? So, um, but you could spend 5 hours on something. You could spend 50 hours on something
And
on the creative development on the initial source material or core item.
now, switching gears a little bit about your creative process. So, you started off making these custom pieces, and then you got into other things. And I know that most people know about the
Other
cigars,
things.
other things. So, most people know about the cigar stuff. But one thing I don't see that's talked about a lot is how you got into the spirits world with your Room 101 gin, which is like what I have right here.
Mhm. A
So,
fine, effervescent, and medicinal elixir.
so how did you get into this? Like, where did this product kind of come from, and what was that
So I
process like?
I have a dear friend named Steve from the New York area who was initially in the alcohol business, right, in the spirit space. And I had been interested in making um, a craft spirit as a component of our brand since day one. And for years, I was convinced that gin was the spirit that was, in my opinion, the most on brand and appropriately timed for. Oh, don't get cocky. I see your comments. It's okay. Get cocky. You deserve to be cocky. A skosh. So so we basically get together and conspire that we're going to leverage his experience in that space and my experience in the brand space and level of establishment, pre-existingly so already for the 101 brand, specifically in the vice category, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, look, Room 101 has always been, and initially to this day, has been inspired by Alfred Dunhill, the Alfred Dunhill of 1950, right? Of the 50s. This is a comprehensive lifestyle collection comprised of the finest offerings and appointments that one's little heart could desire. And I got to tell you, Antoine, between us girls here, People don't add alcohol or tobacco, for that matter, to their brand lineup because it's fucking hard, man.
Well,
This
yeah.
shit ain't easy. They're industries that are riddled with regulatory bog down, right? And regulation in many ways, especially in the spirit space, that's designed to keep small business out, in my opinion, from what I've experienced. Now, it's my opinion.
Like with the spirits, you have to
Firing
have
shots here.
like you have to have a distributor, right? Like you can't just sell it directly yourself.
Yeah, you do. So this is the game. This is the game in the United States of America. It's called the three-tier system.
Exactly.
The three-tier system forbids you from being more than one link in this three-link chain: manufacturer, distributor, and reseller, right? Which means me, the brand owner, manufacturer, the distributor, which is state by state, by the way. They are the gatekeepers for every manufacturer in this country and everyone attempting to do business in this space in this country. You are disallowed from selling your product directly to resellers of your product, right? You have to, resellers, and by reseller, I mean retailers, liquor stores, bars, restaurants, et cetera, right? So the distributor, it's mandatory that you deal with them. So imagine how they treat you, right? It's like when they make car insurance mandatory. Well, you have to have it, so have a nice weekend. So it's an uphill battle, but I think that there's never been a better time for the craft sector of the spirits business in general, because I think that more and more people are wanting to emancipate from that system, right? And they're finding new and inventive ways of getting their products in the hands of people like, internet retailers like Caskers, Wine Liquor Depot. These guys, through their process, their High Time in Costa Mesa, shout out, right? They're able to service in upwards of 23, 25, and in some cases 30 states by direct to your door. So there, wherever the entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well, they will always find a way, right? So that's all.
And where is your gin available? Like what states?
Oh, I thank you for asking. So it's available in the phenomenal state of Hawaii. Shaka and shout out to all my brothers and sisters in the islands. It's available in my home state of California. Okay. It's available in Nevada. It's available in Arizona. It is available because of the tireless efforts of one Philip Michael Siegel. It is available as a special order item in the state of North Carolina and poured proudly at Havana Phil's. And what a fine environment to consume our products, by the way. You will be nothing short of enchanted to consume our products in Havana Phil's very fine cigar bar. In fact, to call it a cigar bar is an insult to how
it's like a destination. I call it. It's a destination. Like it's like a little oasis
of pleasure. It is a mecca of pleasure. That's what. So recently, we were able to open distribution in the state of Texas, and the most recent addition to our lineup and to our reach to our consumers is the state of Florida, which we will actually be in market there in December with our brothers and sisters at Smoke Inn to celebrate this expansion and to pour a tremendous amount of this liquid into people's faces.
Well, that would
with
definitely
permission, not like forcefully.
Consensual pouring.
They want it, they do. I'm sorry. I get so passionate about our products, but yeah, no. So, but it, step by step, methodically, we continue to gain strength and momentum with that product. It's offered not in all the states within which we deal, but in several. In Total Wine, there's some select Whole Foods that carry it. There is a beautiful upscale supermarket chain in Southern California named Bristol Farms that carries the product. There is, we are proud to have our product placed at select Nobu locations, and like I said, High Time and so many others. And I know I'm forgetting some, and I apologize. Maybe Steve can chime in little comments if he needs to pipe up with some other things. High Low Liquor in Long Beach, right? Oh, Mission Liquor. Oh, shout out to David. Thanks, Papa. Hello. So anyways, yeah, no, and great people. And I actually really I've really enjoyed the expansion into Ported Fine Ash in Phoenix, and Fox Cigar Bar. I've really enjoyed entering that space on the coattail of our establishment in the premium tobacco segment, because I feel that we, in certain instances, I mean, in other spaces it's business as usual, and that's fine. But I think we're afforded a subtly better treatment from our pre-existing partners in the premium tobacco segment, and their support that they've afforded us has allowed us to gain a foothold in that space. So we're grateful,
And that makes a good segue into, of course, what most people who watch this will probably be familiar with, but the whole cigar world. Now, you have a big release that I've seen you promote a lot on Instagram in the last couple weeks. The return of Johnny Tobacco Nut.
Jonathan P. Tobacco Nut, to be precise, yes. And Namakubi.
So talk about these two releases.
I would love to. So these two, I mean, over the years, I've come up with, I said Total Wine, bro. I said it. I said Total Wine. Wow. Thanks for keeping up. So over the years, we've had, a laundry list of pretty cool, interesting product releases, and that they've rung a bell or two as the way that they're stylized and dressed. Johnny Tobacco Nut was something that people, I think, at first didn't understand the way that they understand their wanton bloodlust for that product now. That's fine. It takes you guys a little time to catch up sometimes. That's fine. I'm here for you. I will stay the course with you if you stay with me. So Johnny Tobacco Nut will be reborn this year for holiday, and will be channeled exclusively through our partners at Luxury Cigar Club. And this is a little experiment on my part, because we have several very, very near and dear friends in this space. Well, you know what, Brian? It should be. I think that's appropriate, and thank you. So, but these retail partners that we have, some of them, they become as close as family, and they become vested in our growth and success, and us reciprocally so in theirs, right? So, I decided that it might be an interesting exercise to funnel such a special product through such a special retail partner. Now, it's going to be available wholesale to retail. No one's going to miss out. All of our retail partners are going to have access to the product and be able to proudly present it on their shelves at a competitive price. So no love lost there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly. And it's going to be for holidays, so it's going to be far out, man. It's going to be intergalactic.
And what was the other release you mentioned?
Namakubi.
Uh-huh.
So Namakubi is a sub-brand from our collection that's very near and dear to my heart, because although it was my third release in market in 2011, it was honestly probably our first good cigar. And with that said, it was the first product of ours, the first collection that really hit. And at the time, I had been traveling aggressively, trying to meet everybody, and establish myself in the business. Going on 3 years at that point. That was going into the third year. And I think that we finally had a product that stood up to the caliber of relationships that I'd been building in the market. And the rest was history to continue to be in the making, apparently. But Namakubi is something that Room 101 fans, I think, remember and have been interested, to see be reborn. And so Namakubi will be our annual limited holiday release, a super premium, very, very provocatively dressed product of the utmost quality. And I think that, I don't know, I think people are going to dig it. When they're gone, they're gone. This isn't something that's going to be available all year round. This is something that we're going to release similar to our anniversary series once a year. And when they're gone, they're gone. That's it.
And just touch on your shadow army, because I feel like that's a underground thing that you have to be a real Room 101 follower and fan and aficionado to really understand or get.
What about it?
What is it?
You want to talk about the shadow army?
Yes.
You want to converse about the activities in the shadows, Antoine?
Yes.
All right, so be it. So Shadow One is the chieftain and captain of the Room 101 Shadow Army. And he/she, whoever they may be, pilots this clandestine effort in brand promotion and infection through the vehicle, which is Al Gore's internet, specifically Instagram. And the idea was that, we have a troop and a tribe, a family rather, of brand loyalists that had no place to gather, right? And be as one. And so it was proposed to me that we should potentially offer them something like that. And so I said, yeah, fuck it, why not? It's cool, sounds good. And it's turned into a tremendous amount of fun. I mean, we've mailed shadow boxes around the country where these soldiers pass this box from soldier to soldier and remove items and put items in. And we haven't really fully explored, I think, the truest potential of the Shadow Army yet, but it's definitely full of a bunch of very cool cats and kittens that I think appreciate the Room 101 way of life, whatever that means, and probably share a similar thread of insanity to some of our team. And it's just fun, man. I think everybody, if you're interested, you should list shadowarmy.co, because all the kids have a .co these days. That's the cool, right? I mean, you can validate that.
Yeah.
So it's shadowarmy.co, and you can enlist. And what we do is we create exclusive product releases that we offer to that group and that group alone, that are all made to order and collectible in nature. So your current shadow drop should be shipping out this week.
Awesome.
Sorry for the delay, but we had a dryer at our screen printer breakdown.
Oh.
Kind of makes it impossible to print T-shirts, but we fixed that, and they'll be shipping this week. So thanks for your patience, and more to come.
Awesome. Now, when I interviewed you for, all the other things that I work with, you had made this comment during that. I think it was like a 2-day interview session. I think you and I had, and
yes.
you made this comment about the industry. So I guess as a follow up to that, now that there's been a lot of time between that interview and this interview, are you still in love with the industry? Because you described it in a very interesting way, as this kind of long relationship that I don't know. I don't want to say you weren't in love with the industry, but you just said it had kind of changed and evolved a little bit from where it was when you first got into the industry.
I mean, I would agree with that. It definitely it has definitely changed. It's definitely evolved. Of course, I do love this business. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love it. And in many cases, I'm doing it in spite of my love for it, right? Because I think that it's very important. If you really want to try to monetize um, your passion in some way, that you should hope continue to love what it is that you do, right? It's not that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. That's horseshit. If you do what you love to make a living, you should hope to be able to continue to love what it is that you do. Because business can in many ways make the waters murky, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to stay on target and stay focused, and you have to take everything as it comes, right? And accept it for what it is. It's like a relationship. Being in this business is like being in a seriously semi-unhinged romantic evolution with another person, right? And you have to love in a relationship. Shout out to the barrel burners, my kinfolk. You have to not only love who you're with, but you have to love that individual as they grow and they evolve, right? You're married to somebody for 20 years. You're probably not married to the same person exactly. I mean, you are in many ways, and then you're also committed to the person that they've evolved into as they are you. And I feel the same way about this business.
I think it's interesting how, because when we were doing the interview for that magazine piece, you were talking about how, the boutique industry was just kind of growing at that point. It was like you and Pete Johnson and you, just a whole bunch of other kind of pioneers, I would say, of the boutique era. And back then, I know when I first got into the industry, it was 2010, and tobacconists were, I thought the standard that I saw in the magazines and the media was that, it's like this 80-20 rule. Like, we're going to have 80% big brands, whatever big brands were, and then 20% maybe lesser known brands. And now you ask a retailer that, and to me, and maybe this is just like a pandemic thing, but I think it shifted like to what they determined to be boutique versus what they determined to be big. And I see a lot more retailers saying, I want, I want the boutique stuff now. I don't want so much of the big stuff. The big stuff might be the 20% of the humidor because, a cigar smoker might come in and all of a sudden they might want that one brand that they're really familiar with, but they want boutique. So have you seen that shift yourself?
I mean, I've seen it flow back and forth, right? I've seen the floodgates open and everyone run towards what they perceive to be craft or boutique, and I've seen that sway back again to larger houses when look, man, this is a very difficult business to remain active in and to continue to grow, and I think that it's a far more expensive business to be involved in than I think people first think, or on the surface level, right? But to be able to maintain a level of consistent service to your retailers is more difficult every year. To supply them consistently with product, and not only consistently supply them with product, but consistently supply them with consistent product. And so I think that pendulum continues to swing back and forth. Someday we'll rest maybe in what will become the new middle, right?
And do you think,
is that a fanciful way of answering your question by saying nothing?
It's by dancing around the issue, but I think,
but it's true. But that's true,
right?
That's honest.
But at the same time, I think from what you're saying though, like for example, like the industry trade show, like, do we need everybody there at that show because that's what the humidor looks like?
Well, I mean, I think everyone should support. No, everyone has to do what they're going to do. It's not my place to say what anyone should do. What I do is I support the industry trade show because I want to be present and active, and come together with other members of our community. I also support them because I know they lobby for our rights, and I support that. So I don't know that the humidor looks the way the trade show floor looks. I think everyone's house is a little different. Some favoring the big box guys, and some favoring only craft brands. I mean, those are two extremes. One retailer wants an endless supply of embroidered golf bags dropped off at their store every Friday, while the other wants to hope, that they're actually going to get their order.
Right.
And anywhere in between.
Right. Because getting the order, I know in the last episode of Deep Cuts, we were talking all about the supply chain issues. It's like a non-sexy topic, but it's a topic that I think if you hear the murmurs behind the scenes of the industry, it's like the number one, I think beyond taxes, is like supply chain issues and getting product in and having that consistency. Like if they are out of a certain product, a lot of the retailers don't want to necessarily have to wait, this big question mark amount of time to get that product in.
Well, look, man, I mean, your product to a retailer is ammunition. They can't fight without ammo. They can't make a living without your products, on their shelves.
Mm-hmm. So looking ahead, because obviously it's like November 9th, so it's almost the end of the year. Looking ahead to 2022, what can people expect from Room 101?
Well, I think people need to prepare for anything. It's a free-for-all now. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Many plates spinning, many new products and projects in various stages of development. So much excitement. It's like the cup runneth over with excitement, filled to the rim with brim or something. So there's actually, I think the shorter list would be what should they not expect?
Well, that's always good to hear, especially from a brand like Room 101.
They should not expect to not see us. They should not expect for us to lay down, and they should not expect anything less than peak performance at all times across all categories.
I think as we wrap up for today, I'm going to take a cue from your background and ask my random question of the day is like, what's one thing that Matt Booth wants for Christmas?
I've always wanted a pony. So I feel like fancy ladies get ponies for presents, and I want to be a fancy lady.
So you want a pony for Christmas?
That small one though, a small, like a Shetland, like a toy pony that we can paint and put outfits on.
Is Grayson still into Star Wars?
Of course.
Do you already have a list of things from him that he wants this year?
The list of toy asks is short this year. He's been on a little bit of a toy restriction,
Oh.
So, but we're going to try to make it worth his while for Christmas,
Is he into video games yet?
He is.
Does he have a Switch?
Well, I bought for the house one of the throwback little Nintendo deals, right?
Uh-huh.
And have shown him the ways of Super Mario Brothers and things of this nature. He's far more into the games that are on the phone now.
Oh, okay.
Minecraft and things like that. He likes to play those things.
Oh, wow. Well, that's probably better than trying to go out and find a Switch or all these Nintendo games that are like $60 each. So save you a little bit of money.
I mean, in theory, we could hope.
Well, how can people follow you? How can they keep up with the Room 101 brand? Give us the plug for everything so that people can follow up and continue to learn more about you and Room 101 and what you have to offer.
So here's the deal. The funnel goes as such. Go on the Instagram. Follow me personally. Okay. It's Boofy Baby. I am the nucleus for everything that it is that we do, connected to Room 101 brand. If you want to see our made to order jewelry products, connected to Room 101 cigars. If you want to see our fine premium craft tobacco products, connected to Room 101 gin. If you want to see our fine botanical liquids that we offer now proudly in several states across the country. And of course, the Shadow Army, because, there are always antics afoot through the Shadow Army. Room 101 Shadow Army, that is.
So let me see, make sure we got this right. So those are like the 3 Instagram, and then like you said, the Shadow Army. So
and Room 101 brand.
And Room 101 brand. So let me do one for that real quick. Room 101 brand. And what's the Shadow Army handle?
Room 101 Shadow Army.
Army. Hopefully there's no spelling errors. So that should be everything.
There you go.
Those Instagram is like the nucleus hub. So
yes, it is.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on today. I know you're such a busy person and on the go, and I'm glad we got a chance to connect and talk about the different parts of Room 101, because I haven't talked to you much about the gin stuff, and I know we got a little bit of that jewelry story on that story that we worked on together. So, so maybe you should, to promote the Room 101 gin, you should come up with like a little cocktail booklet of different Room 101 drinks, because I know you could probably come up with some pretty creative names for some drinks. It might be
I just might.
It will be a fun project, and maybe something you could give out at the trade show. That kind of gives you like a nice from now until the summer to work on this.
We go.
This project.
Gives me
another project, because you don't have enough to work on.
It gives me something to do. It's great.
Exactly. You don't have enough to work on as it is. So I think we need a cocktail, Room 101 cocktail, and then throw in your, promote it. Maybe I'm giving you like a $1 million idea here. So you can come up with a cocktail book, and then you pair each cocktail with a different Room 101 cigar.
There you go. Absolutely. 100%. I dig it. I love the idea. I'm on it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. And I look forward to our next encounter. Hopefully that might be offline eventually. I haven't traveled any this year. So 2022, maybe I'll get back to traveling. So I might be out. I might be out in the wild at some point. So it'll be interesting to be out of this bubble and see people in person.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And
yeah,
look, man, always, I appreciate the time. I know you can have anybody on your show, and I appreciate you taking the time.
That's not actually true. You'd be surprised when people are like, no, or the emails mysteriously get lost in translation. I was thinking about that earlier today, because I knew for some reason I just pictured that you were gonna like bring up that kind of comment. And there's definitely some people in the industry that are like, that mysteriously I get ghosted. So
well, look,
man, I always appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no, look, it's my pleasure, man. It's mutual, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, hopefully, for those of you who are watching, we do regular deep cut shows. We have one coming up next week. Hopefully, we'll get on a regular schedule sometime soon. But you can go to deepcutslive.com to see all the past shows, including the very first episode, which was, I always say that you were the first kind of pancake. So I knew I wanted to do it over. So thank you for coming on and letting me do that interview over. But hopefully this will continue to evolve and we'll have some interesting people on here. I know from last week, Jeremy said hello and I passed along your message to him. So hopefully you'll get the shirt that he was.
You know, mysteriously, there was a box that arrived at my home with a shirt in it this week.
Yep.
Mysteriously.
So I passed along that message. I was a little pigeon. And then I was talking to a retailer earlier today, Grace from Terrible Cigar Club. Mm-hmm. So she said to tell you hello. So those are the two messages that I was supposed to pass on to you. So you're very popular. And yeah, so those are the two messages I was supposed to pass on to you. So
communication is received, Antoine.
Yeah, so awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I look forward to whatever our next conversation is.
My man. Likewise. I'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you.
You take care.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.